Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mines and Money London Resourcing Tomorrow. And we are now at the booth of Xanadu Mines. And we want to talk to Spencer Cole, the Chief Development Officer and also the CFO of the company. Spencer, welcome.
Thank you very much.
How was the show so far?
It's been fantastic. It's been a very good conference for us.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, markets are not easy, that's for sure. But
Yes.
still, we need commodities.
Absolutely.
And you guys are in Mongolia, so you are exploration and development. Give us a short overview on the company, please.
Okay. Xanadu Mines is an exploration development company, ASX and TSX listed. We operate primarily in Mongolia. We have, and in the South Gobi Desert specifically.
Oh.
We have two projects currently in the South Gobi. One's called Kharmagtai and one is called Red Mountain. Kharmagtai is 100 kilometers from Oyu Tolgoi in the same grounds, so to give a frame of reference for everybody. The Kharmagtai project is our flagship project. It's a big copper gold resource, so 1.1 billion tons, 8 million tons of million ounces of gold and 3 million tons of copper. It's in the past year we've put a PEA on this project and attracted a partner in Zijin Mining Group to help fund us through to pre-feasibility.
Which would be a natural fit, Mongolia, China.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And they're a logical partner for us. That pre-feasibility study is ongoing right now. We finished our infill drilling and we'll be putting out a new resource shortly in the next few weeks.
Oh, wow.
And by August next year, we'll have a pre-feasibility study as well as the results of our ongoing deep exploration program.
Okay, super. Can you comment already a little bit on the PEA numbers, so just that we get a bit of an idea what would be a production frame, how many tons of copper you could do, ounces per year, just to give us an idea of what size we are talking about?
Sure, of course. The PEA is, we designed this as a very conservative, simple open pit with a sulfide process plant.
Oh, okay.
It's 15 million ton initial startup scale in terms of the first process train. After payback, it goes to 30 million tons and runs for 30 plus years.
Wow.
Which is the way you manage many big porphyries like this. You start with your high grade core, and then once you pay back your capital, then you run as a low grade at bulk commodity product. The project itself has a 4-year payback and 20% IRR.
At what prices was that calculated?
And we did that at $4 per pound copper and $1,700 gold. So if you compare that to spot prices, copper's a little lower and gold's a little higher right now.
And soon much higher, hopefully.
And there's many here that are betting and planning and hoping for that. When we look at the project itself, it does run at first quartile cash costs for the first 5 years, which makes it very, very robust in terms of what it will do into the future. When we look at this project going forward, the PEA or the PFS will build some technology uplifts that weren't in the PEA. Around heap leaching, around coarse ore flotation, and things we think will improve the project value. But more importantly, that's the boring task. That's my job, is to finish this pre-feasibility study. The interesting task is what our exploration teams are doing. They're looking for an analog to Hugo Dummett deposit, which is what made Oyu Tolgoi what it is at depth. Our current extent of drilling would barely touch the top of that, and all the exploration vectors tell us to go deeper. Increasing bornite, increasing gold to copper ratios, and open at depth. So with the funding from the Zijin partnership, we are now driving 2-kilometer holes in. Our exploration team is excited, and they're working towards making sure that we don't leave that stone unturned, because that could transform this project.
I see it the same way. So how has the funding worked with Zijin? Is it like an ongoing, or just they put in money for equity? How have you done that?
There was a 2-level of investment. So they purchased Xanadu shares. 19.4% of our shares are held now by Zijin. They bought that at a 30% premium. And they invested directly into the project, $35 million US, which bought them directly half of the controlling entity, so half of control of the project. As a 50-50 JV with Zijin, Xanadu remains the operator until the completion of the pre-feasibility study.
Okay, and then for the future, because I could imagine we talk about maybe $1.5–2 billion of capex, just for the feeling. Maybe you can give me a more.
I'll reduce that for you a little bit.
Oh, good to hear.
We start this project up at under 800 million capex.
Oh, nice.
750 roughly. That'll change when the pre-feasibility study is done, but those are PEA numbers. And the reason we do that is because we're starting at a 15 million ton concentrator. Once the capital is paid back, we use cash flow to double the size of that concentrator to run it as a bulk project for a longer term.
Super. And do you have, as Xanadu, pay for the half of it, or is Zijin then more in charge?
Once the 35 million is spent and we finish the pre-feasibility study, and then we come to the point, a discussion point is how we're going to fund the project going forward. For Xanadu to remain in, we have to fund our share. We do have an option to put half of our share to Zijin, and they will debt carry us through to commercial construction or commercial production. But there's multiple different paths we could take at that stage.
Okay, super, perfect. Given the time frame, now pre-feasibility study is coming, feasibility would be the next logical point, of course. What time frames we are talking? Let's say feasibility done, project decision positive, financing done. How long will it take to really? Fantastic, thank you very much. We do that again. Mark, just let it run. We edit that, yeah. Okay, given the stage with pre-feasibility study, now feasibility study, what are the time frames here? Production decision, project finance, how long would it take to build that all? When could you be, and theoretically, please, hypothetically, in production? Well, what do you think?
We've done the work on that, of course. And what we could do is this thing could be in commercial production as early as late 2027.
But it's still fast,
which is incredibly fast for a project of this size. And then what it does is it speaks to the low ESG barriers that exist in Mongolia. It's, you know, the South Gobi Desert is the least populated place in the least populated country of the world.
The desert speaks for itself.
You know, we're not trying to build a tailings dam up on a cliff with a village underneath it. We're not arguing with farmers over their farmland. We're not trying to take people's surface water. The community, while small, is very, very well educated and very supportive of mining. And the Mongolian government is also very supportive of mining as a major component of its economy.
Yeah, fantastic. How likely would it be that Zijin says, hey, you know what, that looks also fantastic, we want to take the whole thing?
For the right price, Zijin can have the whole thing.
That's what I wanted to hear.
As you might expect.
Yes.
But for now, we're working well with Zijin, and they've been a very good partner to us.
Fantastic. So you said Zijin has 19.4%. Who else are shareholders? What is management share?
From a substantial level, we only have one other substantial shareholder, and that is a private equity firm out of Singapore called ACA. We have a number of well-known Australian institutional investors that are below substantial, as well as a number of high net worths. Management itself is approximately 9%, including shares and options.
Okay, fantastic. And you are funded completely through, as you said, with the 35 million. That's all fine.
So that 35 million takes us to the end of pre-feasibility study. It funds our discovery exploration, which I discussed earlier, which is obviously very important to the project. And then when we hit the end of that pre-feasibility study, that will be a finish point for that 35 million. That will be almost fully spent, and new funding will be required to go into the project from there. From the end of pre-feasibility study, this is likely to go to a hybrid feasibility study and early construction stage and launch very quickly, especially if we're trying to hit those kind of time frames.
So you do it all in parallel?
Yes, absolutely. And Zijin is very experienced in doing things that way.
Fantastic. Have you already also done, let's say, the metallurgy stuff, or is it still ongoing? And how permitting, you said, shouldn't be a problem. That's all in good shape.
It is in good shape. The metallurgy there's obviously some early metallurgy that was done, but we have a full metallurgy program that's largely completed, but some aspects are still underway. We're doing cyanide glycine leach of the oxide material. That will continue through much of the pre-feasibility study because of the time frames it takes to do those kind of test work. We're doing work on hydrofloat for coarse particle rejection, and of course all the standard flotation tests and grind tests and everything you'd expect. So that's all underway. While our infill program is largely completed, some of these other data collection pieces of work are going to be finished in the next month or two.
Fantastic, super. Then good luck with that. Please keep it going, because that world needs a lot of copper. Gold is also for sure, but I think the copper component could be getting very, very interesting in the next years if I look at energy transition, e-mobility, etc. And you're on the right spot.
Yes, and we believe this is the kind of project that will have to be built to fill the copper supply gap that's coming.
Yeah.
There's not another Escondida in the pipeline.
Nope, not that I know.
It's going to be projects like this.
Yeah, no, definitely. Super. Thank you very much, Spencer. All the best. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Spencer Cole, the CFO and Chief Development Officer of Xanadu Mines. You heard it, a great company, copper and gold, especially a lot of copper inside here, and that's exactly what we need for the future. And to be honest, it's great that they are already in the pre-feasibility stage. That should be done next year then very fast. The feasibility is working parallel. And by 2027, they could be already in production. So really check out the company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from London.